Hey everybody, Craig Hester here with R2A with our second Facebook Live presentation. We started last week at this same time. Last week we had a few technical glitches. Some folks definitely pointed out the fact that well, the watch and then me were in and out of focus the whole time. We weren't running in high def. So we hope we have corrected some of those technical glitches from last week, and you're going to see this. We figured out a way to do a split screen, so we've got two cameras running into the feed for Facebook, and hopefully that's going to work well. You'll see the watch in one screen and you'll see my lovely mug in the other, and we're hoping we're going to be in a much higher resolution this week and nothing's going to be floating in and out of focus the whole time. So what are we talking about this week? Well, first of all, last week we talked about the samples and the new old stock. By the way, I think next week's show is going to talk about that again, but it's not going to be nearly as long as it was before. We're just going to pick a few models. We have added some new old stock. We've added some samples, so we're going to talk about that again next week. For this week, we are talking about an Aviator. Aviator, which is now a Swiss company, makes the watch that you see here in front of you. Now, before I get to all of the specs, I want to tell you what this week's special is, or deal that we're doing with the Facebook Live. First of all, we're going to put a small 10% discount on the watch, so that'll bring it down to $679, and that will only be good for the next 48 hours. So if you're watching the Facebook Live program and you want to get that special discount, you need to grab it fast. The other thing we're going to be doing with the watches this time is we're going to be adding in this really cool World War II style pilot's helmet. Now, I know that Edgar with Aviator is going to immediately give me a hard time about the fact that I'm putting the World War II era hat with the modern MiG-29 Swifts, but we have stock of the MiG-29 Swifts and we have the hats, and you know, it's still Aviator, so we thought it would be cool. People covet these hats like crazy. Nobody have ever shown one to didn't say they wanted one. So if you use the code TOPPUSH, that's TOPPUSH, when you go to R2AWatches.com and you pick up one of these wonderful watches, that will give you the small discount, and it'll give you the hat included, and that comes while supplies last. The other thing, well, I'll get to this in a minute. All right, let me explain what this watch is. This is the top Pusher Chronograph in the MiG-29 collection from Aviator. It is the official watch of the Swifts, which is the Russian equivalent of the Thunderbirds. They are an aerobatic flying team. They have been brand ambassadors for Aviator since way back when they were still a Russian brand for many, many years. In fact, I got to meet them at their base in 2008, I believe, and I got to climb up into one of the MiG-29 fulcrums, which was a pretty amazing experience. And they have been their brand ambassadors since way back, even before then, and they still are now. So this is their official watch, the Top Pusher Chronograph. This is a Swiss-made watch with the Ronda 5040D, and this is the Swiss-made movement, not the Swiss parts movement. So it does have the gold-plated parts. It does have the mechanical parts. This is a very, very well-made Swiss quartz movement by Ronda. What's special about this watch? Well, first of all, you can tell by looking at it, it's a little bit unusual. Oh, first of all, let me tell you that there are two executions. There's the red and there's the yellow. Okay, so basically it's the accents change and the color of the top pusher. Now, what makes this watch special is the whole top pusher chronograph configuration. It took Aviator quite a while to figure out how to do this mechanically so that the pushers were on the top. Now, why they did this is because they wanted the top pushers to be there so that if you're a pilot and you've got the big pilot gloves on, which you're going to be wearing in something like a MiG-29, this isn't just guys going up in a Beechcraft having a Saturday flight. This is serious flight going on here. You're going to have the gloves on, and they did it on the pushers on the top to make it easier to actually activate the chronograph with the gloves on, okay, as opposed to having normal pushers on the side, which are kind of small usually, and maybe you're going to get your glove caught on it or whatever. So it helps with the ease of managing the chronograph. Let me quickly give you specs on this. This is a sapphire crystal on this watch. It is 45 millimeters, so by today's standards, it's pretty average size. 45 used to be huge, but now it's actually kind of a Goldilocks size in between. It has the silicone strap on it, really nice. Actually, I think they made this one made the actual rubber. I'm not sure if they're using silicone on this one. You can check the specs at R2AWatches.com. On the back, there is the image of the MiG-29 Fulcrum. That's what the Swifts still fly today. They're actually going to be going to the MiG-35 in the future, but right now they still fly the MiG-29. It is a pull crown. This is 10 ATM. This is not intended to be a dive watch in any way, although 10 ATM is not bad for a pilot watch. And it is a split time chronograph. Now, how do you do the split time? Let me move over to the yellow here just to show something different. I've been showing the red so much. Okay, so the split time chronograph, you start the chronograph with the top pusher. And then instead of stopping it again with the top pusher, you stop it with the bottom pusher. And now it's going to continue keeping time, but you could start timing another event at that point. So when you push the pusher again, it jumps ahead to continue the elapsed time on the other event. So you can do two events. Now, if you want to just use the regular chronograph method, you stop it at the top, you reset, and then you can just start and do a single event going forward. Now, what are the subdials all about? You've got 3 subdials on this. One, and you can see it activate when you start the chronograph, is the 10th of a second there at the bottom. That's the of the tri-complex, that's the bottom eye. And then there is the regular sweep second, because remember on a chronograph, or at least most chronographs, the subdial is actually your second hand, not the main big sweep. That's what you activate when you activate the chronograph. And then there is a 60-minute summing action on the 5040D. One other thing that comes with these particular watches, as I get myself caught up here in Jurgis's plane, you're going to get this really cool certificate. This comes with every one of the watches. And in fact, by the way, if you get the red, you're going to get a certificate with the red watch on it. And if you get the yellow, you'll get a certificate with the yellow watch on it. We just right down to all the details. This is actually signed by all the members of the Swifts. Again, I had the pleasure of meeting them back in 2008. They're just a great group of guys. And of course, they're doing these amazing maneuvers, wingtip to wingtip at Mach speeds. So it's just, it's not just that they're good guys, it's that they're extremely talented pilots. And they actually did sign this. This is not an electronic signature that's then printed onto the poster. They actually did sit in a room and sign a bunch of these for Aviator. So those are the main specs. I'm trying to keep the show a little bit shorter this week. Last week we went a little more than an hour. We're probably going to vary in how long the show is each week. I mean, right now we're coming up on about 8 minutes. I do want to point out again that next week we're going to be talking more about the samples in the new old stock. The coupons from before are still valid. The SAM10 and the NOS10 are still valid if you want to pick up a sample or a new old stock from R2AWatches.com. Again, for this particular deal, the coupon is Top Push, that's TOPPUSH, and that will get you a 10% discount, which will take it down to $679. And if you get it within the next 48 hours after the show is over, you're going to get the World War II era pilot hat, which is, hey, that's just cool. And I'm just goofy enough to actually wear the thing for a while. Also, we're going to be posting all of the videos after the show is, after it's done being live on Facebook. We're going to post them all on YouTube, so please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and I got to get better about pointing that out. And in the description below the video on YouTube will be where you can click the link to go and actually look at more information about the watch and purchase the watch. Surgical grade stainless steel, I didn't mention that earlier. And again, sapphire crystal top pusher chronograph. This is the official watch of the Swifts from Aviator. Swifts, the Russian equivalent of the Thunderbirds. And I'm Craig Hester, and keep watching.